Fabulous. We've got to the final question of the paper, which is a simultaneous equation. Now, simultaneous equations, they're quite a nice topic. I would say they're nicer than the previous question. So always be careful when we're doing the exams, because the tendency is to get to the end and think, oh, it's the last question, I can't do it. But just because you've got a tricky question doesn't mean you won't be able to answer the last question. So always give it a go. That's my advice. Always give them a go. Even if you're not sure, always try and give it your best shot. So to do a simultaneous equation, the first thing we need to do is get either the x's or the y's to be the same in both equations. Now, it doesn't matter which one we take to be the same. We could take the x's to be the same. We could take the y's. Now, just looking straight away at this, I can see that 2 and 3 have a nice low number that's equal, that's in both times tables, which is 6. So I'm going to go for that. But as I say, it doesn't matter. You will still get the correct answer. Now, I always label up the equations just so I know as I'm going through what I'm doing. So in order to get them both to be 6y, I need to times everything in equation 1 by 3. And for equation 2, I need to times everything by 2, and that means everything in the equation. So equation 1 is now going to be 6y plus 12x. Again, it's calculator paper, so just put it on the calculator, equals 84. And equation 2 is going to be 6y minus 18x equals 24. So now we've got the same. That is what we want, because we can't do anything unless we've got the same in both equations. So the next thing we do is we're going to have to minimise that. So what we do, the rule is same sign, subtract. And we take our terms that are the same. So in this case, it's the 6y. And we look at the sign, the operation before them. Well, we can see that this is a plus 6 and this is plus 6. So they are the same. So therefore, we subtract. Now, the difficulty comes when people think they're looking at these signs here. And so, obviously, these are different. And when they're different, you don't subtract, you add. So that can be, that can cause people a little bit of trouble because they start adding. But you're looking at the signs directly before your two that are the same. So obviously if you made your x's the same, you would be looking at these signs here. But in this case, we've made our y's, so we're looking at these two positives. So we're going to subtract. So we do 6y, take away 6y, which gets us to nothing. And that is what you want. If you get an answer that's not 0 for when you've got them the same, something's gone wrong, because that's the whole point of getting it the same. Now the next one is 12x. Again, you have to be really careful. It's take away, and this is minus 18x. Well, when we've got two minuses together, they make a positive. So we then have 12x plus 18x, which gives us 30x. And then we do 84 take away 24, which is 60. So we know that 30x equals 60. So therefore 1x, we divide both sides by 30. Because remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we get that x equals 2. Now once we've got the x equals 2, you've done the hard part. That is the hardest part. Once you've done that, we can move on. You then pick an equation. It can be any of the ones given or these two, because they're all the same. I would personally always go for one with the smaller numbers, so the ones they give you, and personally ones just with plus in, just because it makes life a lot easier if we're adding. But obviously it is calculator paper, so just choose whichever one you feel comfortable with. I then rewrite the equation that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use this equation here. So I'm going to write 2y plus 4x equals 28. Now, I have just worked out my x value. So what I do now is I substitute the value in. I still don't know what this 2y is. I still don't know that. But I do know that 4x, remember that means 4 times x. So if we do 4 times 2, because we know that x is